The security camera at Riverside Mall captured everything in crystal clear high definition. A woman in a cream designer coat, slightly wore at the cuffs but still expensive looking, screaming at a man in a simple navy sweater, her face twisted with rage, her finger jabbing at his chest like a knife. Then she did it. She gathered the spit in her mouth and launched it directly at his face. The man didn't move, didn't shout back. He simply pulled a handkerchief from his pocket, wiped his cheek with the kind of calm that comes from surviving worse storms, and walked away. The woman smiled, triumphant, victorious. She had no idea that the man she just humiliated was married to Victoria Hale, the woman who owned half the tech industry in Seattle and had a personal net worth that could buy the entire mall 3 times over. She had no idea her life was about to collapse like a house made of cards in a hurricane. But here's the real tragedy. Someone tried to warn her, and she laughed it off. If you want to see how one moment of rage can destroy everything you thought you had, hit that like button right now and subscribe, because this story will shock you from beginning to end. 3 years before that spit landed on Marcus Chen's face, Elena Martinez was sitting in a divorce attorney's office, signing papers with a pen that cost more than Marcus's weekly grocery budget. She felt powerful that day. "You're making the right choice," her lawyer said, sliding the final document across the mahogany desk. "No kids, clean split. You get the apartment. He gets his precious dignity." Elena smiled, the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. Marcus had been a good husband, in the boring, suffocating way that good husbands often are. He worked long hours as a project manager at a mid-sized construction firm. He remembered anniversaries. He cooked dinner on Tuesdays. But he was plain, predictable. He drove a 10-year-old Subaru and wore the same 3 rotation sweaters. He talked about building something stable instead of living. Elena wanted fire, adventure, a man who made heads turn when he walked into a room. So when Damon appeared, tall, sharp-dressed, always at the right parties, always with the right crowd, she didn't hesitate. The affair lasted 6 months before Marcus found out. He didn't cry, didn't beg. He just looked at her with those quiet, tired eyes and said, "I hope you find what you're looking for." Then he signed the papers and left. Elena told herself she'd won. Elena's reflection in the coffee shop window looked older than 32. The cream coat she wore, a relic from better days, hung loose on her frame. She'd lost weight, but not the good kind. The kind that comes from skipping meals and sleeping poorly. Damon had left 8 months after the divorce was finalized. Turns out the charm was just a mask for debt, gambling problems, and a wife in another state. Elena moved to a smaller apartment, then a smaller one, then one with a broken heater, and a landlord who didn't return calls. But she never blamed herself. Every failed job interview, every declined credit card, every friend who stopped answering texts, it was all Marcus's fault somehow. He cursed her by being so pathetically boring that she'd been driven into Damon's arms. "Another caramel latte," she told a young barista, a girl with pink streaks in her hair and entirely too much energy for a Monday morning. "Rough day?" the girl asked, smiling with a kind of automatic friendliness that made Elena's teeth clench. "Rough life," Elena muttered. "My ex-husband ruined everything. Took years from me and gave nothing back." The barista nodded politely, clearly not listening. Elena pulled out her phone while waiting, scrolling through Marcus's Instagram for the 100th time. He barely posted, maybe once every few months. The last photo was from 4 months ago, a blurry shot of sunset with no caption. Still boring, she thought with satisfaction. Still going nowhere. That afternoon, Elena went to Riverside Mall. She needed to return a pair of shoes she'd bought on impulse with money she didn't have. The return policy had expired, but she planned to make a scene until they took them back. She was halfway through the main corridor, past a fountain near the entrance to the Apple store, when she saw him, Marcus. He was standing near a bench, checking his phone. He wore dark jeans and a navy sweater that actually fit well. His hair was trimmed neatly. He looked, rested, calm. Something about it made Elena's stomach twist. He's pretending, she thought immediately, faking like he's doing fine without me. Before she could think, her feet were moving. Marcus. He looked up, startled. For a moment, his expression was unreadable. Then he offered a small, polite nod. Elena, her anger flared at his tone, so measured, so unbothered. "Wow," she said loudly, stepping closer. "Look at you, shopping at the mall like you have money to spend. What did you do? Finally get a raise? Or are you just pretending you're not still a nobody?" A few people nearby glanced over. Marcus sighed quietly. "I'm just here to pick something up. I'm not looking for trouble." "Trouble?" Elena laughed, sharp, bitter. "You were always trouble, Marcus. You were dead weight around my neck for years. I gave you the best years of my life, and you gave me nothing." His jaw tightened, but he said nothing. That silence made her angrier. "Say something," she snapped, stepping into space. "Defend yourself. Or are you still the same pathetic coward who couldn't even fight for his marriage?" "Elena," Marcus said quietly, his voice low and steady. "I'm but walk away now." He turned, and that's when something inside her snapped. The rage, the shame, the weight of 3 years of failure, all condensed into one hot, humiliating impulse. She spat. The saliva hit his cheek, just below his left eye. Marcus froze. The mall seemed to hold its breath. Slowly, Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a plain white handkerchief. He wiped his face carefully, folded the cloth, and put it back. Then he looked at her, not with anger, not with hurt, with something worse. "Pity. I'm sorry you're still carrying this," he said softly. Then he walked away. Elena stood there, chest heaving, fists clenched. A middle-aged woman nearby whispered to her husband, "Did she just?" "Yeah," he whispered back, pulling out his phone. "I got it on video." Elena didn't hear them. She felt victorious. Marcus pulled into the driveway of a modest 2-story house in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Seattle. The lights were on inside. Through the kitchen window, he could see Victoria moving around, probably making tea. He sat in the car for a moment, forehead resting on the steering wheel. Then he went inside. Victoria was at the counter, pouring hot water into 2 mugs. She looked up when he entered and smiled. Warm, genuine, the kind of smile that still made his chest tighten even after 2 years of marriage. "Hey," she said, "how was your day?" Marcus set his keys on the counter. "Fine. Mostly." Victoria's smile faded slightly. She knew him too well. "What happened?" He hesitated, then told her. Not with dramatics, not with anger. Just the facts. The mall, the confrontation, the spit. Victoria's expression didn't change while he spoke, but her knuckles whitened around the mug. When he finished, she was silent for a long moment. "Are you okay?" she asked finally. Marcus nodded. "Yeah, I thought I was past all that. Guess not." He walked to the window, looking out at the small backyard where they planted tomatoes last spring. Victoria came up behind him, slipping her hand into his. "Do you want me to do something about it?" she asked quietly. Marcus turned to her. Her face was calm, but he knew that look. Victoria Hale didn't make threats. She made decisions. "Do whatever you think is right," he said. She squeezed his hand once, then released it. "Okay." That night, Elena sat on her lumpy couch, scrolling through social media with a glass of cheap wine balanced on her knee. She posted a cryptic Instagram story. "Ran into some trash today. Treated it exactly how it deserved." 37 people liked it within an hour. Her friend Rachel commented, "Yes, queen, don't let anyone drag you down." Elena smiled, feeling the warm buzz of validation. She fell asleep that night, convinced she'd won. Across town, a security video began circulating quietly through a network of verified Twitter accounts. By morning, it had 15,000 views. By noon, 50,000. By evening, it was trending. Elena woke up to 73 notifications. At first, she felt excited. Finally, people are paying attention to me. Then she opened them. "This you? Disgusting. Imagine being this bitter. Seek help. Who spits on someone in public? Trashy behavior." Her heart started racing. She opened Twitter. The video was everywhere. The caption on the most popular post read, "Woman spits on man in mall. Claims he ruined her life." Thoughts. The comments were brutal. "She sounds unhinged." He handled it with so much class. Props to him. "I hope someone identifies her and she faces consequences." Elena's hand shook. She typed a response, trying to control the narrative. "He was my ex-husband. He abused me emotionally for years. I finally stood up for myself." She hit post. Within minutes, people began tearing her apart. Spitting on someone is assault, actually. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean assaulting people in public. She's lying. You can tell. Elena threw her phone across the room. Victoria Hale sat in her top-floor office at Hale Dynamics, the floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view of Seattle's skyline that most people would never see. She wasn't looking at the view. She was looking at a file on her desk. Elena Martinez, age 32, current employer, Luxway Retail Group. Current residence, apartment 4C, 1107 Maple Street. Landlord, Northside Property Holdings. Credit score, 612. Victoria made 3 phone calls. The first was to a private acquisition firm she occasionally used for real estate investments. "I want you to purchase Northside Property Holdings. Quietly. No press. Consider it done." The second call was to the CEO of Helix Investments, the parent company that owned a controlling stake in Luxway Retail Group. "Tom, it's Victoria. I'm calling about your restructuring plans for Luxway." The third call was to her head of security. "I want full documentation of the mall incident. If she posts anything defamatory about Marcus, I want screenshots, timestamps, everything." She hung up. Then she opened her laptop and began drafting a statement. One she wouldn't post yet, but would have ready when the time came. Revenge, she'd learned, was most effective when it was patient. 2 weeks later, Elena received a letter slipped under her door. Notice of rent increase. Due to recent property acquisition and updated market assessments, your monthly rent will increase by $600 effective next month. Elena stared at the paper, her pulse hammering. $600. She barely made rent as it was. She called the property management office, but the woman who answered was polite and immovable. "New ownership, new policies. You can contest it, but the terms are legal." Elena hung up and immediately started looking for new apartments. Everything was more expensive. Everything required deposits she didn't have. 3 days later, she was called into her manager's office at Luxway. "Elena, I'm sorry to do this," her manager said, not meeting her eyes. "Corporate's doing a restructure. We're letting go of several positions. Yours is one of them." Elena felt the room tilt. "What? Why?" "I've been here for 2 years. It's not personal. It's a business decision." She was escorted out by security 20 minutes later, a cardboard box of her desk belongings in her arms. That night, Elena tried to use her credit card to buy groceries. Declined. She tried another card. Declined. She called the bank. "Due to a recent risk reassessment, your credit limit has been reduced. You're currently over your new limit." "That's insane. I've never missed a payment." "I'm sorry, ma'am. The decision is final." Elena sat in a coffee shop 2 weeks later, laptop open, scrolling through job listings with dead eyes. Her savings were gone. Her cousin had reluctantly agreed to let her stay temporarily, but the tension was already thick. At the next table, 2 young guys in startup hoodies were talking loudly. "Dude, did you see the statement from Victoria Hale about that mall video?" Elena's head snapped up. "Yeah, crazy that her husband just took it. Like, if someone spit on me, bro, he's married to a billionaire. He doesn't need to prove anything." Elena's breath caught. "Hale, Victoria Hale." The name echoed in her skull. She grabbed her phone, hand shaking, and Googled it. Victoria Hale, CEO Hale Dynamics. Net worth, $4.2 billion. Her screen filled with images. A sharp-featured woman with dark hair and intelligent eyes. And next to her in one photo, a private wedding shot that had leaked months ago. Marcus in a simple gray suit, smiling softly, his hand in hers. Elena's world collapsed inward. No. Marcus couldn't. He was boring. He was nothing. He drove a 10-year-old Subaru and wore bargain bin sweaters. But the photo didn't lie. For one flickering moment, Elena felt the ground open beneath her. Then her ego kicked in, slamming the trapdoor shut. It's Photoshop. It's a joke. Someone's messing with me. She closed the browser, ordered another overpriced latte on her last working credit card, and forced herself to keep scrolling through job listings. The moment passed. The tragedy deepened. The article dropped on a Thursday morning, not from some gossip blog or random Twitter account. From the Seattle Tribune, the most respected newspaper in the Pacific Northwest. The headline was simple, devastating. Viral mall assault video. Victim revealed to be husband of billionaire CEO Victoria Hale. Beneath it, a photo Elena had never seen before. Marcus and Victoria at charity gala 6 months earlier. She wore an elegant black gown. He wore a perfectly tailored suit. They looked like they belonged in a magazine spread. The article was thorough. It detailed the mall incident with timestamps and witness accounts. It included stills and security footage. Elena's face twisted in rage, the spit frozen in midair, Marcus's calm, devastated expression. It explained who Victoria Hale was. Tech innovator, philanthropist, one of the youngest self-made female billionaires in America. It mentioned Marcus's background, a quiet project manager who'd risen to director of operations at Hale Dynamics after marrying Victoria, respected by his team, known for his integrity. And then it included Elena's Instagram post. Ran into some trash today. Treated it exactly how it deserved. The journalists didn't editorialize. They didn't need to. The story spoke for itself. Within 2 hours, it had been picked up by CNN, NBC, BuzzFeed, and People magazine. By noon, #MallSpitWoman was trending worldwide. Elena woke up to her phone, buzzing like an angry hornet. She grabbed it, squinting at the screen. 214 notifications. Her stomach dropped. She opened Instagram first. Her follower count had exploded, but not in a good way. She'd gained 3,000 followers overnight, and her DMs were flooded. You're disgusting. Imagine assaulting someone and bragging about it. How does it feel knowing you spat on a billionaire's husband? Elena's hands started shaking. She opened Twitter. Her face was everywhere. Someone had found her LinkedIn, her Facebook, her old college photos. They'd screenshotted everything and were dissecting her entire life. She claimed he was abusive but offers zero proof. Look at her post history. She's been trashing him for years. This is what bitterness looks like. Elena scrambled her laptop, searching her own name. The Seattle Tribune article was the top result. She read it once, then again. Then she saw the photo of Marcus and Victoria. This time, she couldn't deny it. It was real. Marcus, her boring, pathetic ex-husband who couldn't afford nice dinners, was married to one of the richest women in America. Elena's vision blurred. Her cousin Jade appeared in the doorway, arms crossed, phone in hand. "You want to explain this?" Jade asked, her voice cold. Elena looked up, tears streaming down her face. "I didn't know," she whispered. "You didn't know you shouldn't spit on people? Or you didn't know he was rich now?" I thought he was nobody." Jade's expression hardened. "You're going viral for assaulting someone in public. Do you understand what you've done? People are finding my information because you're staying here. I have co-workers sending me screenshots." "Jade, please. You have 2 weeks to find somewhere else to live." Jade walked out. Elena sat frozen, staring at the screen. Panic makes people do stupid things. Elena, drowning in shame and rage, decided to fight back. She opened Twitter and started typing. Everyone acting like they know the full story. You don't. Marcus Chun was emotionally abusive for years. He manipulated me, gaslighted me, made me feel worthless. I finally stood up for myself, and now I'm a villain? This is what happens when a man has money and power. Suddenly he's the victim. I'm the survivor here. She hit post. The response was immediate and merciless. Spitting on someone is not standing up for yourself. It's assault. So you have proof of this abuse? Or just accusations? Funny how the abuse story only came up after you went viral. A journalist from a mid-tier online publication reached out via DM. Hi, Elena. I'd love to hear your side of the story. Would you be open to an interview? Elena, desperate for any platform, said yes immediately. The interview was conducted over Zoom and published the next day. The headline, Mall Spitter Speaks. I was the real victim. Elena had prepared talking points. She was going to be calm, articulate, sympathetic. Instead, she came across as bitter, defensive, and transparently dishonest. When asked about Marcus's alleged abuse, she offered vague generalities. He just made me feel small. He never supported my dreams. What dreams specifically? Just dreams of having more, being more. Did he ever physically harm you? No, but emotional abuse is just as bad. Did you document any of this abuse? Why would I? I didn't think I'd need to defend myself to the whole world. The journalist pressed gently. But you did post multiple times on social media about him being a deadbeat and worthless. If he was abusive, why provoke him publicly? Elena's face flushed. Because I was angry. And the spitting? How do you justify that? It was a moment of, She stumbled, contradicted herself, grew defensive. By the end of the interview, she'd made everything worse. The comments section was brutal. She can't even keep her story straight. This is what a liar sounds like. She's mad because he upgraded and she downgraded. Victoria waited until the chaos reached its peak. Then, on a quiet Saturday morning, she posted a statement on her personal Twitter account, an account with 1.2 million followers. It was brief, professional, devastating. Assault is never acceptable, regardless of personal history or grievances. My husband chose dignity and restraint that day, as he always does. We hope the person responsible reflects on her actions and grows from them. We will not be commenting further, as we prefer to move forward with grace. She didn't name Elena. She didn't need to. The internet did the rest. Within hours, the statement had been retweeted 80,000 times. Celebrities weighed in. Class recognizes class. Respect to Marcus Chun for keeping his composure. Victoria Hale is a queen for this measured response. Meanwhile, the ex is giving interview after interview. The contrast is striking. Elena watched it all unfold from Jade's couch, wrapped a blanket, unable to look away. Elena's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered, desperate for any distraction. Is this Elena Martinez? Yes. This is Jennifer Park from Greenberg and Associates. We represent Marcus Chun. We're calling to inform you that if you continue making defamatory statements about our client, we will pursue legal action for slander and defamation. Do you understand? Elena's throat closed. Yes. Delete any post containing false accusations about Mr. Chun within 24 hours. Consider this your only warning. The line went dead. Elena's hand shook so badly, she dropped the phone. Over the next week, Elena's life disintegrated like wet paper. Her remaining friends stopped responding to texts. Her mother called from Arizona, her voice tight with disappointment. Elena, what have you done? Your aunt saw you on the news. The whole family is talking. Job applications went unanswered. Not surprising, since a Google search of her name now brought up dozens of articles about the mall incident. One recruiter was honest. I'm sorry, but we can't hire someone with this kind of public profile. It's a liability. Her social media became a wasteland. She locked her accounts, but screenshots live forever. Someone created a Reddit thread dedicated to tracking her. They found her old college roommate, who shared a story about Elena cheating on a boyfriend and blaming him when she got caught. They found her former co-worker, who described Elena as manipulative and always playing the victim. The narrative solidified. Elena Martinez wasn't a survivor. She was a bitter ex-wife who couldn't let go. 2 weeks after Victoria's statement, Elena was evicted from Jade's apartment. She moved into a cheap motel on the outskirts of Seattle, the kind with flickering neon signs and paper-thin walls. She sold her designer bags on Facebook Marketplace. The cream coat went for $40. She applied for jobs at fast food restaurants and grocery stores. Most didn't call back. The ones that did took one look at her and said, "We'll be in touch," with that tone that meant never. One night, sitting on the stained bedspread in her motel room, Elena opened Marcus's Instagram again. He'd posted something new. A photo of a garden, tomatoes growing on vines, sunlight filtering through leaves. The caption, "Sometimes the best thing you can do is grow something new." For 1,000 likes. Victoria had commented, "Proud of you." Elena stared at the screen until her vision blurred. She thought about sending him a message, an apology maybe, or an explanation, or just something, but what could she possibly say? She closed the app and cried until she fell asleep. That same night, Marcus and Victoria sat in their living room, a fire crackling in the fireplace. Victoria was reading a book. Marcus was sketching something in a notebook, a habit he'd picked up recently. Something about working with his hands that calmed him. "Do you ever think about her?" Victoria asked suddenly. Marcus looked up. "Elena?" "Yeah." He was quiet for a moment. "Sometimes. Not in the way you'd think." "What way, then?" "I just wonder if she's okay. If she'll ever figure out that being angry all the time is its own kind of prison." Victoria studied him. "You're too kind." Marcus shook his head. "I'm not kind. I'm just tired of carrying anger. It's heavy." She set down her book and moved to sit beside him, resting her head on his shoulder. "I'm glad you found a way out of that prison," she said softly. Marcus kissed the top of her head. "Me too." December in Seattle is cold and wet, the kind of cold that seeps into your bones. Elena walked through downtown, hunched under a cheap plastic umbrella that was already cracking at the joints. She was on her way to another job interview, this one at a call center. The pay was barely above minimum wage, but she was out of options. She passed a small cafe with warm light spilling from its windows. Through the fog glass, she saw them, Marcus and Victoria, sitting at a corner table. Victoria was laughing at something Marcus had said, her hand resting over his on the table. Marcus glanced up, smiling in that quiet way he always had, the way Elena used to mock as boring. Now it just looked like peace. Then Marcus's eyes drifted toward the window. He saw her. For a moment, their gazes locked. Elena stood frozen in the rain, umbrella shaking in her grip. Marcus's expression didn't change. No anger, no triumph, just the smallest nod. Acknowledgement, not cruelty, not pity. Just, "I see you, and I'm still here." Then he turned back to Victoria, and they continued their conversation as if Elena had never existed. Elena stood there for a long moment, rain soaking through her thin coat, the broken umbrella useless in her hand. She looked down at herself, the second-hand clothes, the worn-out shoes, the puddle forming at her feet. The words she'd screamed at him that day in the mall echoed in her head. Trash. She called him trash. Now, standing in the cold December rain, watching him through the window of a life she'd thrown away, Elena finally understood. She was the one drowning, and he had simply learned to swim. Elena eventually found work at a call center. She moved into a studio apartment with peeling wallpaper and a radiator that clanked at night. She deleted all her social media accounts. She stopped talking about Marcus. In therapy, court-mandated after a plea deal for the assault charge, she slowly, painfully began to unpack the layers of bitterness that had consumed her. It would take years, maybe a lifetime. But for the first time since the divorce, Elena started to understand that the person who'd ruined her life wasn't Marcus. It was her. Marcus and Victoria bought a house with a bigger garden. They planted more tomatoes, some herbs, a small lemon tree. On weekends, they hosted dinners for friends. Quiet, warm gatherings filled with laughter and good food. Marcus never spoke about Elena. Not because he was afraid, but because she no longer lived in his head. One evening, while Victoria was pulling weeds and Marcus was grilling vegetables, she looked up at him. "You know what I admire most about you?" she said. "What's that?" "You never became bitter, even when you had every right to." Marcus smiled, flipping a zucchini. "Bitterness is just anger that's gone stale. Why carry rotten fruit?" Victoria laughed. "That's the worst metaphor you've ever made." I know. I'm working on it. They both laughed, and the sound carried across the garden into the summer evening. The last time anyone saw Elena Martinez in connection with the story was a brief statement she released through a legal blog 6 months after the incident. I take full responsibility for my actions. What I did was wrong, and I'm working to become a better person. I asked for privacy as I move forward. It wasn't a viral moment. It didn't trend. Most people had already forgotten about her. And maybe that was the hardest part of all, realizing that the moment she thought to find her victory was actually just the beginning of her irrelevance. The security footage from Riverside Mall was eventually archived. 53 seconds of a woman spitting on a man who didn't fight back. If you search for it now, you'll find it buried under layers of internet history. But the lesson remains, clear as glass. Dignity isn't about what others do to you. It's about who you choose to be when they do it. And sometimes the greatest revenge isn't fighting back. It's simply moving forward, carrying grace where others carry bitterness, building gardens where others plant thorns. Marcus Chin learned that lesson the hard way. Elena Martinez is still learning. And somewhere in Seattle, in a modest house with a thriving garden, a man and his wife are living proof that the quietest victories are often the most complete. So what do you think? Did Elena deserve what happened to her? Or did she just make a terrible mistake? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story moved you, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, because we're bringing you more powerful, emotional stories every single week. Remember, how you treat people when you think they can't touch you says everything about who you really are. Stay kind, stay humble, and never underestimate the quiet ones. Thanks for watching.